Welcome to today's Elevating Conversations. We go live here every Tuesday with special guests coming into what I call Together Tuesdays to just share some real impactful conversations. And today I know with our special guest that we are going to just go with whatever streams of consciousness come in, just trusting what's in our flow. And I'm going to share a little bit about our special guest. Before I share a little bit about Suzana, I just want to, if you chiming in now, chiming in later, listening to the replay, just comment where you are listening in from. We'd love to know. We'd love to say hello to you throughout our conversation. If you have questions arise through our conversation and we're just so present with each other and we're missing your questions, please comment, post them. We will come back to them after the conversation and get those answered for you as soon as possible. So without further ado, and I'm already tripping up on Suzana's last name and she just told me how to pronounce it. So I want to welcome this beautiful human, exceptional human, all the way from Australia today, Suzana Mihajlovic.
Beautiful.
Did I say that? Oh my goodness. I was the most nervous over that. So I am thrilled to have Suzana here because I love our conversations. I love your energy, Suzana. And I just want to share a little bit about you, and then I would love you to share more about yourself. So Suzana is an elite level performance and mindset coach. She has had a wide caliber of experience, expertise, all of which distinguish her from the ordinary, right? She has been referred to as the missing link between success and failure. I also know, Suzana, you are a Proctor Gallagher Institute Consultant, work very closely with Bob Proctor himself. And I just want to welcome you here with us again, because I value just your authenticity, your lightness, your being. I know we've had other conversations and you just have such stillness and naturalness about you. And I would love for you to share more about you. Like, what do you do in the world and why is that your passion? Why don't we start there?
Thank you so much, Sephora. Before we start, I just want to thank you so much. It's my absolute honor to be here in your presence, and I absolutely value and respect and adore the human being that you are and the important work that you do. So thank you so much for having me on your show today. It's my absolute honor. Thank you. So that's a big question. Why do I do what I do? I guess it's just been an inner calling since I was a child, where I was able to, my earliest childhood memories was, people just attracting people of all ages, old, young, kids, babies, I just had something as a child. And I was able to see through to people's souls and their boundaries, I guess, their limits. And I always knew that we were limitless. I was saying to my partner the other day, we were watching a show, and I said, it's interesting because I knew that as a child. I didn't come, I wasn't brought up in a religious family, but there was something intrinsic inside me that knew that we were spiritual beings, that knew that we were limitless, that knew we could get way beyond what we've ever imagined. And a part of that was also thanks to my incredible father, who was a migrant. Both of my parents were migrants in Australia, so he had massive dreams for me, and that helped me dream too. So I went to study psychology and counselling and was in the helping professions in, middle to senior management for 30 years, and always knew that it wasn't quite it. And there was that thing nudging inside me, ever since I was a child, to just jump and do my gift, share my gift with the world. And so I absolutely loved my psychology studies, my counselling studies, all of my studies. I honour my education, but the missing link was that they didn't tap into our limitless selves, the spiritual selves of who we are. And that's where you can make your quantum leaps. So I do a combination of things with my clients at the moment. I am a proud Proctor Gallagher Institute Consultant for years and years. I used to imagine myself working very closely and sharing the stages with Bob Proctor. And now I do that, but that's just a component of my work. I integrate some of Bob's work with my own gift, my own talent, with the 30 years experience that I've had in the helping professions. And I help people, tap into their infinite potential, tap into their truth, tap into the truth of who they are when they take away their labels, when they take away the Suzana, female, 40 years old, certain level of intelligence, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And once you understand the truth of who you are, you're able to make your quantum leaps and really, really start to align yourself with your good and with the life that you're meant to be living on this planet.
Yeah. So, beautiful. Yeah. I love, because you just exude what you speak. Like, I feel it. Like, it's just so beautiful because it's just coming out of you. I love that, helping people tap into their infinite truth. And one of the things I know for me in my practice and in my work, I always say, we have to feel it to create the change. And I loved hearing that in your story. Like, you saw it, you saw that vision of even you working by Bob Proctor's side, and you carried that vision with you. And I'm sure it created some sort of feeling inside of your body, that it was reality. So in that space of helping people access their infinite truth, helping them to feel the ideal, right? What they're dreaming. I'm curious what obstacles you see in your clients and where you shift, right, those obstacles to reframing them, right, into accessing this new state of feeling. Can you share a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and that's such a great question, Sephora. I think everyone has these obstacles, although they're not really obstacles, they're obstacles because we think that they are. And, most of the time they have been passed down from generation to generation and then to us. There is evidence now that shows that some of our paradigms, which is our subconscious programming, some of them have been passed down in our DNA. They've been around for so long. And you just have to look at society and the world to see that, that people are just starting to open up to the truth of who they are now in a collective kind of scale, on a collective scale, up until now. But even now, 99% of the population goes to their grave not knowing their potential and believing in this way. They haven't challenged the paradigms of society, of their past, of their trauma, whatever it is, the box that, I have to, go to school or have an apprenticeship, get a job, get married, and provide for my family and pay off the mortgage. And there's nothing wrong with doing that if that is your purpose. But then you have to question if, most people are doing that. They're stuck in a job. Most people are miserable and go to their graves thinking that that's all there is. So these paradigms come from, the society we live in. They're passed down from generation. They don't even have anything to do with us. They may have been adopted 10 generations ago when the world was living in absolute poverty and limit, and they're passed down, or wars or whatever. The other way is that up until the age of 7 or 8, our conscious mind is not developed. So we are living, with a fully open subconscious. So we are like sponges. And anything that has happened, whether it's a trauma or we have interpreted a meaning. So we may have had well-meaning parents that have said, oh, Sabora, that's great, but you can do better. We can see you do better. As a child, you may have interpreted that as, oh, well, I'm not good enough. So then, because you're like a sponge, those ideas and those limits are self-imposed, they're, I guess, absorbed in your mind. And then we start to repeat the messages that we think we have, or the messages that we have interpreted, the messages that we pick up from society. It is so important. It is critical that you start to understand your own power, because we are now living in an a world of information, where there's information coming left, right, and center. And if you're not aware, if you're not open, if you don't understand how your mind absorbs information, you'll be open to all of, the marketing. You'll go past a post, or on the radio, you might be listening to a radio and it says you have to look a certain way to be okay. Or, fear, 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 as soon as you turn on the TV, and that is going into your subconscious. So to me, my purpose is to wake the world up to who we truly are and to the potential that we have inside us, and, help every person that comes, in front of me or my team understand that they are not the limits that they have imposed on themselves, and the limits that society or the news or whatever it is has slowly, knowing how their mind works, absorbed their mind. And once you start to break through and understand the truth of who you are, you have infinite power inside you. You have infinite love. You are infinite love. Without you, the whole universe would be out of alignment.
Yeah. I love this. I can listen to you all day.
And then that opens you up to new possibilities.
Yes. Yeah.
It opens you up to a new vibration.
Yeah.
And that's how we can change the world.
Yes. Yes. Amen. Yes. What comes to mind is interesting, because you talk about, we have that idea, we have that ideal, we have our higher self, our highest truth, our infinite potential. And what comes to mind for some of the struggles that people have right in the human form and in this reality and in the subconscious is chronic illness. Like that comes to mind, and that belief, because that fine line between doing what one needs in the physical world, like to thrive, like looking at it with a mindset like I'm doing this for my body and my mind to thrive, versus the idea that I'm doing this because I'm broken and I need to fix something, right? Because I think of doctors or practitioners that even will tell you someone that you're sick, right? You're sick, and that's just a repeated pattern with how so many of our languaging happens and unconsciously in the world. But if we can shift, right, that relationship, I know I've been through that, just shift that relationship. Yeah, just really, really big. So I'm curious, Suzana, and was there one or more adventures or pivotal moments in your life? I know you shared a bit about growing up and the support of your father, but was there any more other pivotal moments in your life that you've just switched, or you just always knew this was your calling?
Oh, that's such a great question, Sephora. So, look, I think I always knew that this was my calling. I'm just thinking back to my earliest memories as a child. And I think that, and at the same time, there have been pivotal moments. So we experienced extreme bullying growing up until the age of almost adulthood, like extreme bullying. And childhood wasn't always a happy place, being from a migrant family. And all of that, and it was a lonely time. And all of that has actually added to what I do today, who I have become. I remember being in the front yard of my house that we grew up in as a child, and I was in so much pain because there were, kids in the street when I'd walk in to school or whatever that would, physically, a number of occasions, physically attacked me. And I remember I was in the front yard and I vowed, I was only probably about 9 or something, 8 or 9, that I will not hurt another person because I know how it felt. So I used to start to protect kids at school that were, that were the underdog, or that felt like they were excluded or whatever. Now, I haven't always been perfect at that. I'm the first to admit that I haven't been perfect at that, but I clearly remember that memory. So I think I've always known my purpose, and I think that the pain and the trauma that we all experience, this is not about feeling sorry for myself, we're just having a conversation, was actually a gift that brought me to where I am now. And that's the reason why I studied psychology and counselling. The pivotal point, though, in my career as an adult was so I knew for many years I would be working with Bob Proctor, even before he knew that I existed. But the very pivotal point was when I met Bob Proctor the first time. It was September 2017. I was in Toronto with, quite a small, probably about, 80 people in the room, and I was sitting in the front. And he hadn't met me before. And I had been listening to his material for many, many, many years. So he must have said this before, but this time I heard it in a way that every single cell of my body reacted. It was a spiritual experience. And it was like he was talking directly to me. And he said, and I've got this in my book, I start my book with this because it was such a profound moment that changed things for me. He said, did you know that without you, Tzipporah, without anyone that's listening, without you, the entire universe would be out of alignment.
Wow.
So if you did not exist, the whole universe, the infinite universe, the intelligence that creates the stars, the solar systems, the universes out there, the infinite universes, would be completely out of alignment if you did not exist.
Yeah.
And something happened to every single cell of my body at that moment, and it showed me that I was playing small, that my fear, this purpose that I had for 40 years was inside me, but because of my fear, I was playing so small, and it was time to step out. And then, I couldn't stop crying, but I had, within minutes after that, I had the skeleton of my book on paper.
Wow.
It was crazy. So that was the changing moment of my career, my business, the way I see myself, my life, and every single one of us. And if that's the only message that I can give you, then I think I've done my job.
Yeah.
So I wish every single human on this planet realizes that they have the whole universe inside them, the power of the whole universe. And without them, the universe could not function. Wow. So we must stop telling ourselves the lies, the viruses, that we are this, that we are that we are guilty, that we are not worthy. For God's sake, that's just chitter-chatter from your brain, from the monkey mind. And that's what your brain is meant to do. Yeah. But we have to detach ourselves from those thoughts because they are not true.
Yeah. Thank you. That's phenomenal. Yes.
Yeah. And when go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
And when you tap into the truth of who you are, you open up to infinite possibilities.
Yes. Just that one statement, I'm just like, we're complete. It's just like you just said, it was right. One thing, and for those who come in listening now or listening to the replay, the curious question I have is, hearing that, what did they feel in their body? Like for me, it's so potent hearing that, and I can only imagine how you felt when you originally heard it. And I am aware of you're very intentional when you speak. even when we first get on a call, like I don't miss a mark, and it feels different in the body. And so as people, I'm just bringing that up because as people listen, I encourage them to pay attention to that. Like, what an example to model and for us to live by. And possibly we wonder every day, like, how, if you're wondering how can I make one small difference in my day today, it could be merely this in your languaging and in your listening. So beautiful. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I would love people to just really continue to get more of a feel for you and your work. Is there more to the methodology, or if you would have a client, what would be maybe a couple processes that you would offer them when you're working with them that could be easily explained here for the viewers, for the listeners?
Absolutely. So I have, I'm sorry, I have a difficult time explaining what I do because, yeah, even though I've got the psychology, the counseling, years of experience, the training from Bob Proctor and you know, all that, and being very close with him and all that, and a part of one of my coaching programs does have, you know, you get one of Bob's programs as a bonus. What I do is just something that is natural inside me. So, you know, we've had a number of conversations and, you know, I'm like, you know, Sabora, I'm just in the moment, you know, no planning, you know, just, you know, ask me whatever you need to ask me because it comes through me. So I guess at the very basic core, you know, I ask people to get to know themselves, and to start, the very start is understanding what it is that you want. So if we let go of all those viruses, if we let go of what you thought you can't achieve, and we just tapped into your heart, what would you love? What would you love for your life instead? So we always start from that because, you know, that gives you desire, that gives you purpose, it gives you a goal.
Yeah.
And from that space, they open up to a journey that they probably didn't think that they probably didn't expect. They thought it would be regimented and structured, and you do this lesson and you do that. And a part of it is that because I do go through one of Bob's program for my basic coaching. But what I'm doing is when I have my group calls or even a one-on-one call, I am actually tapping in to the person, to their energy, to what is happening for them. And that is the space that the transformation comes from. And it's absolutely crazy because week after week, so, you know, week after week, I do give a bit of a lesson, but I don't want to be just a teacher. I want everybody to transform. I want everybody to wake up to their potential. And it's interesting, just by doing that, I can have 60 people on a call, and it's amazing how many messages I get from clients after that saying, oh my God, how did you know that's what I needed? Because I see them all and I feel them all, and I'm guided by what I'm experiencing of them, if that makes sense. So some of it is structure. The most basic thing that we need is some clarity around what it is that you would love for your life instead, because the universe loves order. And there is, and then we look at, you know, how the mind works. You know, I educate people about their conscious, subconscious mind, their higher faculties, their self-image, etc. And that's also a part of Bob Proctor's program. However, they also get me, which is the part that I can't explain, because I just connect and I just feel and I just help people transform based on where I'm feeling they're at.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I understand everything you just said. Just like, I so get it. Yeah. And I love how you open up with getting them to know more of themselves and creating their ideal. In the programs that I do, we do envisioning right at the start.
Yes.
To get them to feel, to get them to maybe step out of where they're stuck and the not so ideal, right, in the complaint space or the victim space, and step into creating a new felt sense experience, right? So I'm hearing that you
Yes.
offer a space like that. And again, just speaking to you, it's very clear what you bring, you know, to what you share. Like I feel it through the Wi-Fi, through the net. So I can only imagine if someone's working with you in person. Um, so I ask this to all our guests, and I would love to know, what does intimacy mean to you?
Oh, I love that question. Intimacy to me starts with yourself first and foremost. So intimacy to me means letting go of the ego, which we all have, the paradigms. People say that, people don't like the ego word. They don't like to accept that they have the ego or whatever, but it is a part of us. So letting go of that and intimately connecting to your divine self, your
Yeah.
power, your beauty, the love that you are. And from that space, you are able to connect with others and see the love and the beauty and the perfection inside them
Mm.
when you move through the walls, the barriers, the ego, the paradigms. So, and that allows you to co-create anything that you want,
Yeah.
whether it is intimacy in a conversation, holding someone's hand, having a connection in a cafe, or physical and sexual intimacy. And I think you can go not only deeper, but you can reach a higher level of joy, ecstasy, physical, spiritual, emotional intimacy when you're able to do that.
Yeah.
And we're all able to do that. We've just got to move past the facade,
Yeah.
the curtain that we have, in front of us, that keeps us on the physical, keeps us with our paradigms, keeps us with the trauma, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Moving beyond our stories, right? Yes.
Moving beyond our stories. Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It
Yeah.
can feel so complicated and difficult, and it is possible. It is so possible.
Yes.
Aw. Well,
Absolutely.
I am aware that you also have an important next meeting to get to. And I just thank you for being with us. Thank you for having the conversation with me. I love our conversations. It's so great to be in your presence and to share space with you. Do you have any place where can people find you? Where would you like to send people to just connect with you, to learn more about you?
Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I think the best place where I give the most value is the Millionaire Roundtable Facebook group. So the Millionaire Roundtable. You can also check out my website, your2minds.com. But if you go into the Millionaire Roundtable Facebook group, it's all in there anyway. I have weekly sessions, master classes, etc. in the Facebook group. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Yes. So make sure you go check out the Millionaire Roundtable. I just plugged it into the comments, and
Thank
we'll share
you.
more links when we stop our conversation here today. But do you have any closing words, Susanna, that you'd like to leave?
Well, I just want to thank you, Sabora, for the work that you do and for this
Mm.
beautiful connection this morning. I feel like I could talk to you for hours and hours, and we can go deeper and deeper. And I just want to thank you so much for asking me to be a part of your incredible work. I love what you stand for and the work that you do. And thank you so much. And thank you for sharing this intimate moment with me.
Yeah, yes, yes. Thank you. And this is the first. Like you said, I feel there's just so many conversations that we can share and have. And so I will keep the door open to many more.
Absolutely. Looking
Right.
forward to that. Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. So, for you listening, to the viewers out there in the world, again, go to Millionaire Roundtable and check out Suzana and her work and her offerings. And you can join us back here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, where we go live on the Elevating Conversations. And the last piece that I will share, you can come over and visit me at supportintimacy.com. And we are holding our first ever in 2 years, not ever, in 2 years, in-person event coming up later in September. So just send me a DM and I'll be happy to send you those details. So until soon, be well, everybody. Bye bye.